Welcome to another episode of the Metal Queens podcast. I'm Steve Richards, where we spotlight the women shaping the future of rock and metal. Today, we're joined by one of the genre's most electrifying young forces, Sierra Levesque. At just 20
Thank
years
you.
old, Sierra is an award-winning singer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist who's being celebrated across the rock world. Guitar.com hails her as Gen Z's most ambitious new guitarist, while Guitar World magazine says she stakes a claim as the future of rock and roll with over 5 million YouTube views, 2 million Spotify streams, and more than 325,000 social media followers, and growing every day, of course, every minute. She's quickly becoming a global sensation. Her debut album, New Generation, it's great. Check it out. Was released back in September of this year. It's a 13-track storm of ripping guitars, bold storytelling too, and youthful rebellion that cements her as one of the most exciting rising stars in modern rock. From major award nominations to opening for LA Guns, Faster Pussycat, Killer Dwarfs, and more, Sierra Levesque is the real deal. And I'm happy to have Sierra join me here on the Metal Queens podcast. Welcome.
Woo! Thank you so much. Thank you for that kind intro. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here, Sierra. So tell me your story from Canada originally, now in LA. How did you get there? Was music big and important in your house growing up?
Yeah, for sure. My parents are not musicians themselves, but they're huge music fans. So, especially with my dad, huge fan of the 80s, rock, hair metal, all that stuff, Hair Nation, Ozzy's Boneyard, like we'd listen to
Mm.
that all the time. And yeah, so I just grew up kind of loving music. They took me, I was lucky enough to go to quite a few concerts with them growing up. And yeah, I would say I started singing like for fun in the house around age 3, and that's when I noticed, like, hey, maybe she likes music. So, they put me into musical theater, and I did a few roles like Annie and Mary Poppins and stuff like that. And then at the age of 7 is when I started learning how to play piano and sing, take lessons. And yeah, from there it was kind of like developing my own sound, and I was really, really heavily influenced by rock, of course. So rock and metal, so many great artists, bands. So yeah, I kind of developed more and more from there. And then as I got older, I was like, you know what? I really want to pursue this, so I started performing live as much as I could. And then I kind of turned to the social media side during COVID. And then I started doing my online degree in songwriting, which is from Berklee College of Music out in Boston, but I'm
Sure.
doing it online. So I started that, and as a part of that, they allowed you to take internships in person. And so when I was looking for my first internship to do, luckily I had made a connection out in Santa Monica, California, and I asked him, I said, hey, like, I'd love to do an internship with your company. Would you let me? And he said, yes. So that's really the first reason why I moved here, was to pursue that. And now I'm pursuing other internships as well for my degree, but always wanting to live in LA. So now I'm just kind of going back and forth between Canada and LA, and hoping one day I'll be out here for more full time. But yeah, it's very great. And music has led me to all of these great opportunities. So very excited.
Do you remember your first concert experience with your parents? Rock show.
Yes, my first rock show was Kiss, and we drove about, I would say maybe 4 or 5 hours to Michigan. So we crossed the border from Canada. I think it was Grand Rapids, Michigan, so might have been longer drive. But yeah, we drove to it. I had my parents painted my face as Gene because he's always been my favorite. And yeah, it was my first ever rock concert, so it was amazing. And until then, I'd gone to a lot of Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez, stuff like that. So this was like my first introduction to the loudness and guitars, and I just loved it. So yeah, from there I've gone to so many concerts, and now I've even gone to concerts on my own. It's just like really taken it into my own, especially rock and metal concerts. They're my favorites. So I'm glad they first took me to Kiss. That was a great introduction.
Yeah, great introduction. These two guitars behind you there on the wall. Talk about those a little bit.
Yeah, well, when I first moved here, I wasn't able to really bring too many guitars from Canada because they're very hard to bring on planes. I've had so many arguments with like flight attendants
Hmm.
saying like, you have to check it underneath, you can't bring it on, and usually when you check them underneath, they get broken. So when I moved here, I thought, you know what, I'm not going to chance it. So I reached out to Fender. I have a great contact there named Billy. And I said to him, hey, like I'm moving to LA. I don't have any guitars, so I would really appreciate anything. And he was kind enough to send me a Fender acoustic and also this Player 2 Series Mustang to try out. And it's been really great. Definitely very liked, easy to travel with. And I had this one, only that one, for quite a long time. And then more recently, actually, when I first started guitar at the age of 12, my first ever guitar was a white Flying V. So I kind of like to say, like, the V is like in my mind. Like, I think
Yeah.
that's my favorite. So when I came here, I was always looking for one with 24 frets because this one doesn't allow me to play all the songs I want to play that have, higher parts. So this one, there's a cool music store in Santa Monica called True Tone Guitars. And I would go in there all the time looking at the different guitars. And one day I saw this one and I thought, you know what? I want to try it out. So it's matte black. It's a Epiphone Prophecy one, and yeah, it's a Flying V, of course. So I thought, you know what? If I'm gonna buy one here to stay in this area of the world, I definitely would like a Flying V. So that's the bought one, and that's the the given one. But very grateful for both. Thank you, Fender, and yeah, just always love a Flying V. And definitely, you don't see too many girls playing Flying Vs
Yeah.
nowadays. So I love both, but definitely love the cool V shape.
That's very cool. Who's your favorite guitarist of all time?
Oh man, that's a tough question. My list probably would change every day, but I would say of all time, Randy Rhoads. I
Hmm.
actually I mean, just so inspirational, and actually 2 days ago I got the amazing honor of meeting his sister and his brother-in-law at their winery. They have a winery out here in LA, and they had a lot of limited edition Randy photos and stuff like that there, and I felt like so just emotional being there because I've learned about him my whole life. And it's kind of so sad, his story of, how he passed so early, but it was very great to meet his family, and I felt like even more that made me really appreciate him and his legacy. So, number one, Randy Rhoads, but I have so many. I mean, Tony Iommi's up there.
Yeah.
Ron Bumblefoot Doll, Bumblefoot, he's taught me guitar lessons for a while now, but he's one of my favorites of all time. Nancy Wilson, love
Hmm.
her. Just her acoustic and electric, just so many. But Buckethead, DJ Ashba, there's so many. But I would say, of all time, if I had to pick one, probably Randy Rhoads.
Great choice. Well, you're only 20, Sierra, and already being called Gen Z's most ambitious new guitarist. When did you first realize that music, specifically rock, was where you belonged?
I would say I'm not. I'm trying to think of a specific moment. Well, whenever I was 7 and I first started writing my own songs, they weren't too rock sounding. So then when I picked up a guitar at age 12, that was when I really knew, like, this is the music that I want to play. This is the music I love listening to, being a part of. So the first song I ever learned was Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. And I just always loved growing up, like, Axl Rose's voice. So I knew that that was something that I wanted to hold on to. But yeah, I would say ever since I first started learning guitar is when rock really took off for me, and I knew that I didn't want to make any other like genre or focus. I wanted to focus on being rock, and yeah, it's been great. I really love it, and I'll make things that are inspired by other genres, but I'll never consider myself anything other than a rock artist. So very proud of that.
You draw influence from Avril Lavigne. You mentioned Nancy Wilson from Heart a few minutes ago, Joan Jett, Scorpions. How did those artists shape your sound and the musician you have become at the age of 20?
That's a good question. I mean, each one has had their own way. I would say Avril Lavigne, a lot of her like earlier stuff, acoustic, ballads, even like the whole Skater Boy era. A lot of those things shaped how I songwrite, and also I write a lot of songs on piano, so that helped with that. Joan Jett, I write a lot of like rebellious songs, kind of also about girl power, so she's helped me with that and just the electric nice and simple chords for most songs, but very catchy. Always love that. So she's influenced me for that. Heart, yeah, I mean, the voice of Ann Wilson with the guitar of Nancy, just in every song I do, I always try to use inspiration from them somehow because just so great. And then Scorpions, I would say their diversity, they have very heavy songs like from the Blackout album, but then you can go to one like Wind of Change, and that's a very nice like, very ballady,
Yeah.
acoustic, not too much crazy scream vocals, just very nice smooth vocals. Love Klaus Mein's vocals, and yeah, their diversity of sound. I really think a lot of my songs can go from heavy to soft like theirs do. So try to take something from everyone, and I definitely keep learning every day by listening to them.
You mentioned the piano there. You're a multi-instrumentalist. Which instrument came first, and which one feels most natural to you today?
Yeah, so first it was piano at age 7, then I started learning drums at age 10, guitar at age 12, and bass at 13. So I learned all four of those and tried my best abilities to still practice as much as I can, and I write with all of them. And then on all my songs, I play every instrument, so it gives me a good time to practice. But I would say my most comfortable one is still guitar. I pick up a guitar usually to write most things that I write. So yeah, other than vocals, like vocals is kind of my number one. That's where I started. But luckily, guitar's been helping me to get more opportunities as well, just by posting on Instagram and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say other than vocals, guitar is definitely my most comfortable today.
Speaking of posting, you've earned over 5 million views on YouTube and millions of streams too, all while still building your career. What moment so far has made you think, wow, this is really happening?
Oh man, so many. I would say the first time I played at the Whiskey A Go Go, that was a crazy one. That was back in 2023,
Mm.
and that was all from me posting on Instagram. The booking agent, one of their booking agents, actually found me and said, "Hey, like, if you ever want to play here, let me know." And I thought it was a scam message, so I didn't know it was real. But when it all worked out, and finally when I was on that stage, I thought, "Wow, this is actually happening." So that was one moment. And another was when I got to play with Nancy Wilson on stage. Back in 2022. She did like a rock fantasy camp where they invite people to come and you play a song with her. And I got to play Crazy on You and Barracuda. And in those moments when I was playing those songs beside her, I was like, this is not even real.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are my two like wow moments so far. But yeah, every time I get to perform in a new place, I'm still thinking, hey, I'm proud of myself and I can't really believe I'm here. So yeah, every moment I truly appreciate for sure.
Yeah, that had to be surreal. Guitar World, Guitar.com, and major publications are spotlighting you as the future of rock. Does that validation motivate you, add pressure, or a little bit of both?
I would say it motivates. I mean, pressure, I feel pressure mostly from just myself. Usually I'm competing the most against myself and my own deadlines and expectations in my mind. So usually no one else's are worse than mine. Usually mine are the ones I have to really get pressured by. But yeah, the moment I saw any of those articles that people have been nice enough to write, I always just can't believe it and I'm very excited. So I would say mostly validation and just encouragement to even on the bad days or the days where you may feel down or sad, that's what really gets me through is thinking about the fact that, these people have talked about me and even anyone cares. So that's what helps me for sure.
Yeah, let's talk about live performing and stage growth. You've opened for legendary acts. I mentioned LA Guns, Faster Pussycat, Killer Dwarfs. What did you learn from sharing the stage from those veteran acts?
Oh wow. Well, I learned a lot and also I'm like very again into the 80s, like very very 80s. So
Mm.
yeah, any of those names, I'm so excited. Like I'm like, "Oh man, that's so cool." Like every time I hear it, I'm like, "Wow, I did open for them. I can't even believe it." I'm still like not I was an out of body experience. So, I would say just from all of them I learned just a lot about like yeah, persevering, even through the times when that specific genre was kind of having a bad day back in the 90s and people thought it was done, especially nowadays when pop is so huge. These bands are still out there, still performing every night, still have sold out venues, so it's just another reminder to keep going and yeah, to really just follow your dreams and no matter what people say that you can do it. So I would say that's the main thing I took away from all those bands, but in general just always honored to be like in their presence and they've always been very nice too. So I would say that's another thing. Sometimes the bigger artists who I mean, have every right to be arrogant sometimes aren't. And then sometimes the ones who you don't expect who are kind of like rude to you, that makes you feel bad. So when you go meet a band like this who, again, huge fan, so 80s, a lot of success, and they're so nice, it kind of makes me realize, you know what, you always have to be nice to everyone, and especially if they're opening for you or if you just meet them on the street, it's always a good thing to be nice. So those are the two main things I've learned, I'd say.
What's a Sierra Levesque live show like for someone who's never seen you perform before?
Yeah, well, there's two different versions, I guess. Version one is what I did today. I had a show today, and that was more an acoustic style. That's where I play a lot of originals and mix with covers, singing and playing acoustic guitar, usually everything from Johnny Cash to Metallica to covers and originals, everything in between. That's kind of more of a laid back one, but the main one I do most often, which is what I do at the Whiskey a Go Go and bigger venues, is I sing and play electric guitar and acoustic guitar depending on the song, and I've recorded myself playing drums, bass, piano, background vocals, synthesizer for all my originals. And then you hear a full band when you're watching only one person. So it's kind of like a full band sound, one woman show. And yeah, I like to tell the crowd that I'm the one that you hear playing all instruments, and people seem to like it. So yeah, it's something I haven't seen too often live myself. So I wanted to, bring that forward to a lot of venues, and luckily it's gone well. So those are my two versions, kind of the acoustic one and then the full band one woman show.
Mm. Your debut album, New Generation, was released in September. What was the feeling like when you released that debut album? And what was your vision when you started putting those 13 tracks together?
I was very proud because this was my first big package of music I released. I Until then I was only doing singles, so I knew it was going to be a bit harder to put together and promote an album. But yeah, as soon as it was out, I felt very proud. And then I had started writing these songs a little earlier in age. They're kind of all my earlier songs. It's why I wanted to put them all on the first one. So at the beginning when I was writing most of these, it was just about, writing something new, writing something that I wanted to hear as a listener. And so then choosing which ones would go on this album, I wanted to kind of make it an experience from beginning to end. If you listen to the whole thing, all 13 tracks, kind of like a really cool opener. Then you go through some different vibes,
Yeah.
acoustic, electric, piano, guitar, and then we end on another kind of heavy one, but with like a constant lurking at the end, like wondering what will be next. So,
Mm.
yeah, always about, making the listener stay engaged and just telling them that there's more coming soon because I have so much music ready that I probably have music ready for two more full albums right now, but I would just want to start with this. So, that's what I was thinking mostly.
Yes, Gary, you said those songs were older songs. Is there a song on the album that feels the most personal or emotionally raw for you?
Yeah, for me, it's Wrong About You. That one,
Mm.
I still definitely have a hard time even listening to for some reason. I think as a listener, not as a performer, but as a listener, every time I listen to it, I'm like, man, that is a sad song. I
Yeah.
can't even remember like how I wrote that, but yeah, ones like that definitely get me feel the most emotional. I mean, a lot of the songs also have an angry vibe, so when I listen to one like Authority, I feel a little fired up, like, yeah, I'm not gonna let anyone tell me what to do, but emotionally vulnerable, I would say Wrong About You for sure. And a little bit on Left Looking Gray because that one, my original guitar teacher, who unfortunately passed away during COVID, he had given me the original idea for that song. So every time I hear it, I kind of hear what his vision was and kind of reminds me of him.
Yeah. What do you hope listeners feel after hearing New Generation from start to finish?
I hope they feel inspired about the status of rock music today. I hope they think, you know what? Hey, there's this young girl coming up. She just put all these songs out and these songs aren't too bad. I hope that's what they think and they remember them, and I also hope that they're walking down the street a day later and maybe singing one of the melodies, remembering it. That's always my biggest goal is to, stick in people's minds and maybe put a smile on their face even if they're laughing or crying, some way to keep memorable. So I hope they take something away from it and remember it going forward for sure.
Yeah, you wrote, recorded, performed everything yourself on this album, New Generation, which is out now. And with your career exploding, Sierra, what goals or dreams are currently at the very top of your list?
Number one right now, I would say, is getting a booking agent. That's number one because right now, every show I've ever played, which has been, oh man, like I probably would say like around 70 shows per year, and especially before COVID, it was even more. So every single one has been a result of just me emailing, calling, and it's great, but it's just like, oh man, I really think I could use some help. So my number one goal right now is to have help with that because the more I play live shows, that's the best way for people to really understand my sound, what I do. And I find that even if someone isn't a fan and they come to my live show, they usually leave a fan or at least leave maybe respecting more the music a little bit. So any live show is great and would love to do more. And then I would say my second goal would just be to get ready for more music coming out. I have, like I said, I have about 42 songs fully
Wow.
recorded and ready. So I used 13 on that album, first one, and now I have many more left. So it's just about choosing what's next and trying to keep at it, keep active, keep writing, and keep getting ready for more music to be released.
Well, I think I know part of the answer to the next question as we look ahead to 2026, the new year. So another album perhaps coming out next year?
Perhaps I would say for sure some singles from the album. My next song release actually is going to be this Friday, November 28th. That's going to be a brand new Christmas song. Every year I like to do that for fun, but it's also kind of like my own rock version of Christmas songs. So this year it's an original. Last year it was an original, and the year before it was a cover of Run Run Rudolph. So that was pretty fun. But that's my very next one. It's called Frosted Memories, and it'll be out this Friday. But yeah, 2026, I'll definitely be releasing singles from the next album, and then probably, yes, potentially a new album or very close to a new album because there's so much music left to be heard. So just getting it out there for everyone.
What about touring in 2026? Any plans?
Yeah, for sure. Right now, I'm trying to stay here as long as I can, so just keep on making connections and contacts. And right now, I have one gig in 2026 booked, but other than that, I'm just pounding the pavement away, trying to get more and more. So if I can get at least 100 shows in 2026 across US and Canada, I'd be happy. So that's my plan is to that'll be my goal. Hopefully, at least 100 shows. Right now, I've got one, so 99 left to go.
Yeah. All right. So a lot to come from Sierra next year. All right. We're going to wrap up with our fun rapid fire questions for you.
Oh, woo, I love that. Here we
All
go.
right. First guitar riff you ever learned.
Actually, Wipeout by, I don't even know the band, but Wipeout. Before I learned Sweet Child of Mine, it was a little Wipeout. Na 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 na
Oh, yeah.
na.
The Safaris.
Yes.
Classic.
Yep,
Yeah.
that was the
Cool.
first one.
Dream festival you'd love to headline.
Oh man, Sweden Rock.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites. Always wanted to visit Sweden, and that's just like a top one. So Sweden Rock is what I'll say right now.
Yeah. I've heard that's a great one. I know the answer to the next one. If you could bring one guitarist back for a jam session, who are you choosing? Randy?
Definitely Randy Rose. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
What is your go-to pre-show hype song, or what do you like to listen
Oh
to?
wow. That's a good question. I love to listen to usually the songs I'm going to be playing, even if it's my own, just to kind of get them in my
Hmm,
mind. But by another artist, I do love some Megadeth before my show. I feel
yeah.
like listening to Megadeth hypes me up for sure. So probably, oh man, I guess I'll say like Hangar 18. Love that song.
Yeah,
So
great
I'll say
song.
that one.
Yeah. What's one thing your fans would be surprised to know about you?
They'd probably be surprised to know that in person, sometimes I am a bit shy, and sometimes I get like anxious going places or meeting people because I do give off, especially in my music world, I'm very, confident, and when I'm on stage, I'm kind of funny for some reason, which I don't know where that comes from, but in real life, behind all that, I am kind of a little bit of a shy, like socially anxious person, so they might be surprised to hear that.
All right, and final one. If you weren't a musician, what would Sierra Levesque be doing?
I used to say I would be a private detective because I
Hmm,
love like finding things out. But another thing, I'd probably be a teacher. I do love teaching music, so I also would probably just be maybe like a regular teacher, even maybe kindergarten. I like the idea of teaching kids and making an impact. So somewhere between maybe either a detective or a teacher.
Yeah, we a lot of the metal queens that I've had on here are teachers too.
Yeah. So you never know. Maybe I could be a combination of both.
Sierra Levesque, remember that name. She's not just part of the next generation of rock. She's helping define it. Her debut album, New Generation, is available now everywhere. Music is streamed. And if you haven't seen her live yet, make it a priority. More new music to come, more tour dates to come in 2026. So follow her on social to get updates on that. Sierra, thank you for joining me here on the Metal Queens podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you for watching and listening. Like it, share it, subscribe to it, write a review. I'm Steve Richards. I'll talk to you again next time.